Decades and decades and decades ago, when Cthulhu was introduced to the world, it was legitimately scary. Not least for the fact that it was so unknowable. That was the spooky thing. It was alien. It was incomprehensible. Now, I'm happy to eat crow on Silent Hill 2 Remake in several areas. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. However, Bloober gonna bloober, and the studio's predilection for hackneyed horror tropes has inspired today's video.
More. No other genre benefits more from the classic role than horror. It's not an absolute rule, of course. Not every horror story needs to be withholding. But when it comes to doing a lot with a little, media designed to scare you takes unique advantage of the concept. After all, one of the most primal human fears is fear of the unknown. To be afraid of the dark is to be afraid of what it can hide. One of the most frightening aspects of death has always been the mystery of what happens next. I mean, I know what happens next. You get served a notice to join skeleton jury, so you can judge others for bum crimes. This is what my dad told me. Then again, he got arrested for setting fire to a kid dressed as a Ghostbuster on Halloween, so... What can be more anxiety-inducing than a threat we can't see, can't hear, can't know? Only one thing is scarier. Walking into your kitchen at 2 a.m. to find a spaceman looking in the cupboard under your sink, and when it notices you, it just shuts the door and runs at you. I don't care how brave someone is, if a spaceman rushed them, at 2 in the morning, they'd shit themselves. The unknown comes a close second, well, a close third. The other scary thing is someone looking through your bedroom window at night wearing a Mr. Mime outfit, just bashing on the window, just bash, bash, bash. One of the most effective things about the Blair Witch Project is how you never find out for sure what's out in those woods. Well, at least until 2016's Blair Witch ripped all the mystery out and left us with nothing to play on our minds anymore. Revealing the source of the fear comes with a risk of making it too knowable, too easy to understand, and far too familiar to fear. We all know how desensitization works. We've all played enough Grand Theft Auto and then beaten a sex worker with a dildo, at least according to Fox News. The more you're exposed to something that makes you feel a particular way, the chances of that thing making you feel less increase. At best, overexposure to horror media will make you less scared of it, and at worst, well, familiarity breeds contempt.
Speaking of contempt, fuck the mannequins in the Silent Hill 2 remake. Of all the things Bloober Team could have fucked up with its reimagining of my favourite game of all time, I could never have predicted that chief among them would be the mannequin monsters. My god, though.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
When it comes to breeding hatred through familiarity, the Silent Hill 2 remake's near clownish over-reliance on this spoopy quartet of plastic legs might be a true crowning moment. They started literally hiding behind potted plants. Something I wish more horror game developers would realise is that overexposing their monsters is the fast track to destroying their monsters. I often call this process of destruction slendering. After the classic horror game Slender 8 Pages. I fucking hate Slender. It's a shitty little scavenger hunt made 10 times more annoying than it already would be thanks to the obnoxiously noisy troll harassing you the entire time. And that's what it feels like. Trolling harassment. You're trying to find these stupid bits of paper in the woods while remembering where you are and where you've been, and the whole time you're trying to concentrate, you're being followed loudly by this utter fucker who won't just leave you alone for 30 seconds. Amnesia: The Dark Descent is another classic of the genre, and the design philosophy of this one is very different to the games we've just discussed. A lot of what makes Amnesia so scary is purely atmospheric. There are monsters. They don't actually appear very often, though. Instead, the game preys on your fear of the monsters, using them just enough to remind you they're out there, then using all manner of audio-visual trickery to let your mind do the rest. So savvy is Amnesia, it even discourages you from so much as looking at them, since doing so reduces your sanity meter. One of the most iconic abominations in games must surely be the Nemesis. Introduced in Resident Evil 3 as an unstoppable, implacable, well, nemesis. While the mannequins are an incredibly extreme example, they're part and parcel of Silent Hill 2 Remake's insistent overexposure of all its monsters, except Pyramid Head. SH2R has a brand new combat system and it wants you to use it to the point of practically forcing you. The original Silent Hill 2 incentivized avoiding its monsters wherever possible. James wasn't a good fighter at all, and it was a lot easier to give creatures a wide berth or get past them in some other way. Some of the scariest parts of Silent Hill 2 are parts where the player is actually perfectly safe. That initial walk to town through the forest trail with the uncomfortably prominent crunch of distorted footsteps surrounding you. The prisoners in Toluca that are completely invisible but cause James to look up, as if seeing something unnaturally tall. Even though combat is negligible, I've never gotten sick of Silent Hill 2's monsters. And I've played that game over a dozen times in my life, whereas I've played the remake once, and I'm over every single one of them. I was long before I'd finished my very first playthrough. The original didn't force me to fight hundreds of monsters, it made sure doing so wouldn't benefit me more than just sidling past the things. As a result, their mystique, their thematic resonance, their creepiness has endured in my mind for over 20 fucking years. One particular moment in Silent Hill 2 terrified me more than anything in any other game. As you head to the hospital's basement door, there's a sharp scream of a baby. Always loved the mannequins of Silent Hill 2. Such a fascinating, eerie and symbolic design. I've loved those leggy monstrosities for 20 years. It took Bloober Team a few hours to make me never want to look at a fucking mannequin ever again.